Grand Rising, everyone. Natalie coming to live. Spirit and coffee. Got my coffee here. Salud. Interesting enough, I'm drinking out of my Slytherin mug today. The snake, right? The mother goddess snake has been talking to me, coming to me mythologically, symbolically, right? Coming, and the mythology of the snake, right, in Turkey, which is kind of crazy because, as you know, there's was a great earthquake that happened, and I don't know if it's timely, but there are these Netflix shows that have been coming out about the snake goddess, and how she is coming to, wipe out humanity for the sake of what we've done, which is kind of crazy when you look at mythology and what we see happening. And I had no idea about Shamaran, I think is the name of the mythological snake goddess. And it's crazy that there's this energy happening in Turkey as these are coming out. But so I would say in the collective consciousness, somehow we, our imagination, our ability to tap into these higher cosmic energies somehow has a shift, which is crazy. And if you're tapped in this way, um, you can kind of, I don't want to say prophesize, but it is like prophesizing. It's being able to connect into the collective consciousness and kind of see how things are going to shift and change. And when we see this mythology rising, even in Netflix shows, right, which is kind of crazy, somehow one of the Netflix shows was Shamaran and the other one is The Gift, and they came out before this, great earthquake happened. And it's just kind of crazy because these archetypal patterns from the collective consciousness will come to us and kind of give us an idea of what is to come, which is interesting, right? And then you say, well, is that coincidence, or was it supposed to happen that way, or was it giving us some sort of clue as to what is to come or what is to happen if you kind of don't wake up, right, and get our act together. um, in that, I've been taking a class right now called Living Systems. If you don't know what Living Systems is, it is one of the new paradigms that is emerging. A paradigm is a worldview and how we see the world and how the world is shaped. And we live under these bigger paradigms, and they become the collective, like culturally, right? It shapes culture, society, and how we operate in the world. And so, living systems come up. And in the class, in the course that I'm taking, we did something called the Council of All Beings. Now, the Council of All Beings is it's sort of a byproduct of what happened after a woman was doing research on the wicked problems that are happening in the world. Now, there's this concept of wicked problems that comes from living systems. Living systems gives rise to understand that there are these wicked problems that arise that we don't have control over, right? We as a human species think we can control things, but we don't. These wicked problems put pressure on species here on the planet Earth. So it puts pressure on, us, it puts pressure on other living species, but mostly us, right? Because we're the ones who are conscious of it and the ones who are trying to change something. Um, so anywho, we have these wicked problems. And part of that imagination, right, which is what's really important, and picking up on the collective consciousness, we were asked to choose a being, choose a particular being. And the first being that came to you, right? And that could be a system. It didn't have to just be an animal. It could be, the atmosphere, right, which is a system in itself. It could have been condensation or rain or water, or it could have been steam, or whatever it was. And so people picked their individual being. We had, people that were coral reefs, we had people that were turtles. And what in the Council of All Beings, what you do is you embody the creature that you're becoming, and you talk to the humans and you tell them, hey, this is what's going on, this is what you're doing to my planet. But first you talk as a council of what you're worried about with your species, who you are as a species, and what you're worried about. Powerful, powerful, powerful ceremony and ritual to do. And then somebody acts as a human being in the circle, and then the council of all beings will tell the human, you know, what they're doing to their species, what they need to know, and then they give them some advice how to move forward. What can you do to support us? So, anywho, in this council of all beings, I ended up getting called by the cosmic mother, which is like such a huge, vast energy. Now, that energy potential is something that's beyond me, almost too much. And honestly, I was trying to run the opposite direction. Right? I was like, I don't want this energy. Please don't give it to me. It's too much. I think I'll be a cricket. And I wanted to be a cricket. And then, the cosmic mother said no. She kept tapping me on the shoulder, like, no, you need to this. I have things that I need you to say. And I'm like, I don't want to, because it's too much, right? It can spiral you into a depression. And that's why people working with the big archetypal energy have to be very careful. You can lose your mind, really, and or get washed up by the sorrow that you feel. And so I thought, well, maybe I'll be steam. That would be cool. Or, I don't know, condensation. I don't know, something like that. Didn't work out for me. And in being the cosmic mother and listening to her voice and really what she had to say, what it really boiled down to is, how we are as a species on the planet and Mother Earth and all living systems on the planet, and how all these systems are interconnected. Now, I don't agree 100% with living systems theory. I don't think it's the best paradigm for us to actually cling on to, because it does come from a very mechanistic worldview. So I would just say probably not a good way to go as a species. I think there are probably better ways for us to imagine the world and to um, give rise to a new paradigm that is inclusive and honors Mother Earth. Where I don't think living system necessarily honors, I think there's an opportunity to continue to extract from her and really keep the imbalance going. Excuse me. So, in this process, there was a great morning, right? A great morning where you can imagine your grandmother coming to you, your grandmother being like, yo, um, you're hurting my daughter, you know? And what came is that, the Mother Earth came to Cosmic Mother and said, why have my children forsaken me? For what reason have they forsaken me? What have I done wrong? Where have I gone wrong? And in that, there was great sorrow. I don't feel like the mother was angry. I think there was a time where there was chaos and perhaps that feeling of rage. But at the end of the day, I feel like the earth is mourning and sad and deeply sad at what we've done to her. And I don't want to dismiss it, because I feel like there are people who dismiss it by saying, and I used to do this, and something I will not do going forward is to just say, yeah, even though humans have made a mess of it, the Mother Earth will just shake us off. We're just nothing anyway. That's not true. Um, what is true is that we have caused a lot of damage to the earth. And regardless if we're able to, and I don't even think it's not us even fixing it, regardless if we survive as a species or not, and regardless if the earth is able to move on and heal from all of the damage that we've done, there's still a great mourning for the loss of the life and in masses of the life of the species that we've killed off. And that mourning is felt by the earth. And somehow, when we don't acknowledge that and we dismiss it, we're just saying that it's okay, let's just continue to do what we do. Mhm. When the earth and the mother is calling for us to be with her, she's asking us to remember her, to come back to her, to spend time with her, to be with her, to wrap your arms around a tree and acknowledge that she exists and that she too mourns and that she too has cycles and that she too has suffering and that we have actually sped up the suffering. and that we have contributed to that suffering in monstrous ways, huge ways, ways that I don't think we even understand. Now, is she mad at us? No, I think the mother gives before she takes. And I think we've just taken and taken and taken, and we haven't given back. And I know that native cultures and stuff, they give back to the earth, they, and if they take, they ask for that blessing. And that was the reason why, because they understood that the earth mother and the cosmic mother were givers of life. They were the givers of breath. And we somehow have totally disconnected from that. And I think, I myself have gone through cycles as a woman, where there was rage and chaos and disorder. But at the end of the day, that's not really what the mother wants. The mother is asking us to be with her. And we've somehow disconnected from her. We've forsaken her. And I think I used to say that all the time. Oh, she'll fix herself. Us humans, she'll just shake us off like fleas. But I don't think that Mother Earth wants to shake us off like fleas. She wants us to be with her and love her, show compassion for her, mourn with her, and take responsibility for the suffering that we've inflicted upon her. Not act as though we didn't do anything, but really say, you know what? Yeah, we messed up. We totally went left field. We went rogue, and we've harmed a lot of the species that you've gave birth to. And there's a great mourning that's happening. And I think that if we're able to mourn what we've done and the things that we've killed off, right? And go into that despair. And I was reading in the book, World is Lover, World is Self. I mean, she does a phenomenal job, Joanna Macy, of describing the difference between the grief and despair. She explains the distinction between the two, where despair is just the acknowledgement of the suffering we've inflicted, right? Recognizing that we've inflicted suffering on the planet. The mother, loving the mother and being with the mother, going outside and smelling the flowers and giving thanks for the fragrance that she puts on our nose, right? And that we're able to smell. And for the fact that we are a part of her, and the earth and the dirt that created us allowed us to even see the flower, allowed us to even recognize that there was color on it, that allowed us to smell and taste, to feel. But somehow we've lost our way. And until we can actually take responsibility, every single person on the planet can take responsibility for the pain that we've inflicted upon the mother and ask her to be with us as much as we get to be with her. I don't even know that a forgive me is necessary, because I don't think the mother doesn't forgive. She's already forgiven us. It's I think she just is waiting for us to remember that she is the mother of all mothers for us, for the species on the planet. And somehow we've lost our way. So when we look at it, and if you feel, and I don't know how many people, for me, I call it cosmic empathy, and I don't think anybody has ever said that word. I think there's cosmic empathy comes up, but if you're a cosmic empath, which I don't even know that there's any research that talks about cosmic empath, and you can feel the cosmic energy moving. And then, the planetary empath, where you have people who can feel the planet moving. And then you have people empath, right? Where people feel empathic towards other people or animals or whatnot. But cosmic empaths can feel it all. And I don't know how many individuals are really open and perceptive to that. And it could be clairvoyance or whatnot. But being able to feel that energy for the entire planet is, it can drive somebody in crazy. It could drive somebody crazy, mad. You can go in seriously. So really tapping into what does it mean, right? In order for you to take care of yourself and not spiral, and still be able to connect to the great mother, still be able to be one with the great mother. Um, and something that happened during my journey in connecting to the great mother was the opportunity to understand that I too need boundaries as a human. That I cannot take, this is not the problems that we're facing right now, is not somebody's going to come save us. And I think some people religiously think that that's what's going to happen. That, something from the sky is going to come and save us. The reality is it's our job to save ourselves. It's our job to reconnect. It's our job, because then we place it on something outside of us. And the reality is we're the ones living it and experience. And in order to save ourselves, we have to recognize that we've done some very, 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 very harmful things to the planet. And we got to be able to, or we have to be able to accept and acknowledge that we're part of the reason we see the world the way it is. Because we can't imagine something different until we do that, until we heal past that trauma that we've created for ourselves. And recognizing that the Earth Mother is a part of that, allowing ourselves to reconnect with that, the Cosmic Mother, the Earth Mother, and being with her is part of it. I don't believe that she needs more than us to just be with her. It's like kind of funny too, because part of why I don't 100% agree with living systems is that they focus on fixing problems, problems, wicked problems, all these problems, problems, problems. It's such a masculine way to look at the world, right? And my therapist, right, I was in therapy, she said something pretty profound, right? She's like, well, yeah, it's like men, they want to fix us all the time. We don't need to be fixed. The earth doesn't need to be fixed. She needs to be remembered. She just needs to be remembered. She needs you to be with her. She's not broken. Now, we have caused damage to her. We have caused the very problems we're trying or seeking to resolve. And we continue to try to resolve these issues, thinking that it's like a God complex, thinking that we can resolve these issues, and we cannot solve them. We need to resolve the infliction within ourselves, the confliction within ourselves, the internal sorrow and the internal anger and frustration that we have within ourselves. That's where we need to resolve those issues so that we can then reconnect with the very place that gave us life, so that we can remember her, so that we can come back to her and say, thank you for the gifts that you've given me, for the breath that I have. But somehow that's been lost. And somehow we have totally disconnected from that. Totally. All of us. We don't need to fix anything. It's the same thing. It's like, be with her, empathize with her, love her. Like, I can't stress that enough. I would say World is Lover, World is Self is such a powerful book in terms of, she does talk about the grief. See if I can find where she has it. I mean, it was a pretty profound, yeah. So we're talking about like despair, right? And what despair and grief is. Um, to feel despair in such a cultural setting can bring with it a sense of isolation. The psychic dissonance can be so acute as to seem to border on madness. The distance between our inklings of apocalypse and the tenor of business as usual is so great that though we may respect our own cognitive reading of the signs, we tend to imagine that it is we, not society, who are insane. Okay? Turning toward our despair is not as simple as it might sound. There are many ways we modern people impede our experience of despair and protect ourselves from truly knowing what we know. We can stop ourselves from feeling through psychic numbing. Then, once we feel it, we often hide it, and in addition, we may treat despair as illness or as personal pathology. Psychic numbing, when we are fearful and the odds are running against us, is easy to let our heart and mind go numb because the perils facing us are so pervasive. This numbing touches us all. No one is unaffected by it. No one is immune to doubt, denial, disbelief about the severity of our situation. This is what is important. The severity of our situation that we're numbing out to, and we continue business as normal as though it doesn't exist. And what do? Yet, of all the dangers we face, from climate chaos to nuclear warfare, sorry, none is so great as the deadening of our response. Activists and their organizations trying to arouse us to the fact that our survival is at stake decry public apathy. The cause of our apathy, however, is not indifference. It stems from our fear of despair that lurks beneath the tenure of our daily life, a dread of what is happening to our future, stays on the fringes of awareness, too deep to name and too fearsome to face, because of the social taboos against despair and because of the fear of the pain. There's great pain in this, you guys. These can be heard um, to acknowledge or express directly. They are kept at bay. The refusal to feel takes a heavy toll. It is not impoverished. It is not only impoverished our emotions and sensory life. Flowers are dimmer, less fragrant. Our loves less ecstatic. But psychic numbing also impedes our capacity to process and respond to the information. Here is the numbing, right? Is our cause. We have a psychic ability to tap into these things, and in the past we were able to, like feeling the earthquake before it came, feeling tsunamis before they come, because we are all interconnected. There's a high vibrational frequency that happens. The earth itself is giving us signals. The cosmos gives us signals. It tells us something. But what we have is noise pollution. We have light pollution. We can't see the skies the way they should be seen at night, right? Unless you live in a place that's very, 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 very dark and doesn't have any electricity. So we have disconnected and numbed ourselves out from it. Business as usual. Okay. Because why? It's too hard to face it. We don't want to face this fact, and it's hard. So we numb out, and then we disconnect from our ability to be with the earth, to be with the mother. Okay. The energy expanded in resisting despair is diverted from more creative uses, depleting the resilience and imagination needed for visions and strategies, which is what we need. Fear of despair erects an invisible screen, filtering out anxiety provoking data. In a world where organisms require feedback in order to adapt and survive, this is suicidal. In other words, we do not have the senses to understand the feedback that the Mother Earth is giving us. We can't even feel it. We don't even see it. We've numbed ourselves out from it. We can't react fast enough. We're totally disconnected. And to look it in the face and recognize what we have done is far too much for some people to look at. It can cause great, 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 great sorrow, depression, even. But not looking at it is going to be the damnation of us, too. So, what do we do? How do we come to terms? Well, I say all you have to do is go outside, put your hands in the soil, and give the mother a kiss and say, I'm with you. Remember me, and I'll remember you. I'm sorry for what I did. Help me heal. Instead of numbing out and acting as though it doesn't exist. Does that mean that you can change it on your own? No, it doesn't mean that, because it's going to take all of us. It's honestly, this is too big for one person. Not one person. It's going to take a whole bunch of people. Okay, concealing in India. Once again, the young mother, her leprosy was advanced, the doctor pointed out, because for so long she had hidden signs, fearing ostracism and banishment. She had covered her sores with her sari, pulled a shoulder drape around so no one would see. In similar fashion, I did. I later hid my despair for our world, cloaking it like a shameful disease. And so I've learned do others. We do. We hide our despair for what's going on in the earth because we don't want to bring people down. We don't want to be a Debbie Downer, right? Despair is tenaciously resisted because it represents a loss of control. That's another thing. We cannot control what's to come. We are trying to fix something we can't. There's nothing to fix. We just need to remember. Work on healing yourself and ask the mother to help you heal. An admission of powerlessness. The acknowledgement of despair for the future is a kind of a social taboo, especially here in America, and those who break it are considered depressed or depressing, unable to control their feelings, which is something that we don't allow. It's not depression, and it can lead you to depression if you stay there. If you don't move forward, yes, right? And nobody wants to what does it say? No one wants a Cassandra around or welcomes a Banquo to the feast, nor are such roles enjoyable to play. When the prospect of our collective suicide first hit me as a serious possibility, I felt that there was no one I could turn to in my grief. I have loving, intelligent friends and family, but what could I say? Do I want them to feel this fear of horror too? What can be said without casting a pall or without seeming to ask for unacceptable words of comfort and cheer? So we do this. And it's sad because we can't talk about the despair. We can't talk about it like, oh, let's just numb out business as usual. Let's just pretend it doesn't exist until it does, right? I will only love you from a distance. Yep. Pathologizing. To ease our suffering, we persuade ourselves that we need treatment and pills. Some of us even persuade ourselves that we are mentally ill or in need of care. And trust me, it can get that way, right? The highly profitable pharmaceutical industry is more than ready to cater to such needs. And that's what they do, right? Psychotherapy, by at large, has offered limited help for coping with these feelings and more often tends to pathologize them. Many therapists have difficulty crediting the notion that concerns for the general welfare of our planet might be acute enough to cause distress, trained to assume that all our drives are ego-centered. They tend to treat expression of this distress as manifestation of personal neurosis. I often hear from students and readers the kind of response they receive when in psychotherapeutic hour they express their grief or anger over the ecological or social issues. What might this concern represent that you are avoiding in your own life? In such a way is our anguish of our world delegitimized. In our own case, deep dismay over destruction of nearby forests was diagnosed by a psychotherapist as fear of our own libido or sexual drive, which the bulldozers were said to symbolize. And my painful preoccupation with US bombings of Vietnam was interpreted as a unwholesome hangover of Puritan guilt. Such therapy, of course, only intensifies the sense of isolation and craziness that despair can bring. So, what is this telling us? We're not accepting the fact that we have done these things and also that people that can feel um, earth empathy and feel cosmic empathy are crazy and that there's something wrong with them and that it's all about them and it's not. It's just that we can feel the energy of these beings telling us that they're mourning, they're hurting, and we want to be with them. So what do? Be with them. Be with them. You don't need to fix it. There's nothing to fix. The damage has already been done. We can't bring back amphibians once they go extinct. We're going through a mass extinction and we can't bring back that was lost. The earth gave birth to that. We can't give birth to those things. We try to do it in laboratories and all this and that, but we're not Earth. We're not the Great Mother. We didn't give rise to all the species on the planet and all the systems that we see that are happening around us in the atmosphere and all that kind of stuff. We don't have the capacity to recreate what the Earth has, what the cosmos have. We're a participant of it. We don't need to fix it. We just need to be with it. At the root of our difficulty in accepting the genuine depth of human concern and even the pain for the world lies in dysfunctional notion of the self. Okay? It's the notion of the self as the isolated and fragile entity. So long as we see ourselves as essentially separate, competitive, and ego identified beings, it is difficult to respect the validity of our social despair. Both our capacity to grieve for the others and our power to cope with the grief springs from the great matrix of relationships from which they arise. We are, as open systems, sustained by flows of energy and information that extend beyond the reach of our conscious ego. We have become so egocentric. We think that we can fix things. We can't fix nothing. There's nothing to fix. The Great Mother, the Mother Earth, doesn't need to be fixed. She just needs to be remembered. It's that simple. Be with her. Mourn with her. If you feel when great things like stuff that happened in Turkey, some people can tap into that and have that feeling, right? They connect with it. They can feel it. If you felt it, there's nothing wrong with you. I fell to my knees and cried for days because I could feel all of the energy, all the loss, right, of life. I cry because I feel the loss of all that the mother has given us and all that the destruction that we have done as a human species. But do I need to fix it? No, I can't fix it. No one can. At this point, there's nothing that needs to be fixed. We just need to remember, be with her, connect, reconnect with her, mourn with her. You can mourn with the mother. She's in great mourning right now. I think that maybe she can go on a rampage, but deep, 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 deep internally, there's a mourning that happens every time we kill off a species. I can't stress it enough, but that's okay. Respecting despair. Let us, first of all, disabuse ourselves from the notion that grief for our world is morbid. To experience anguish and anxiety in the face of perils that threaten us is a healthy reaction, far from being crazy. This pain is a testimony to the unity of life, the deep interconnection that relate us to all beings. Pain for the world is not only natural, it is a necessary component of our ability to respond. As in all organisms, pain has a purpose. It is a warning signal designed to trigger remedial action. It is not a banishment by injections of optimism or serums or positive thinking. It is a healthy, normal human response to the situation we find ourselves in. Faced and experienced, its power can be used. As the frozen defenses of our psyche thaw, new energies and intelligence are released to help us face the loss of meaning we are confronting. Despair work is different from grief work in that its aim is not acceptance of loss. Indeed, the losses we are witnessing are hardly to be viewed as acceptable, but it is similar in the dynamics unleashed by willingness to acknowledge, feel, and express our inner pain. From my own work and that of others, I know that we can come to terms with apocalyptic anxieties in ways that are integrative and liberating, opening awareness not only to the planetary distress, but also to the hope inherent in our own capacity to change. I mean, whatever this woman has to write is right on point. And I highly recommend that you get the book, Joanna Macy. Um, just does amazing work in terms of that, and it's true, we are at a point where we're feeling, a lot of people are feeling that planetary pull, the morning ecological crisis. They know what's going on, they feel it very deeply. There's nothing wrong with you if that's what you're going through. The world itself is call you wrong because they want everybody to smile and put on a happy face. But the reality is that's not always the case. There's a great despair, and it's okay to mourn. It's okay to go through those feelings. Is it okay to stay there forever? No, that can get pretty toxic for you. But it's okay to face it, be with it, and then ask yourself how you can wake up and love every day of your life, right? I'm here to love. So, how can I be in love with the sunset and the sunrise? How can I be in love with the trees and the dirt? How can I be in love with all the creepy crawlers that this earth has given birth to? How can I find love in my heart so that I can love my brothers and sisters? If you don't love yourself, you're not going to be able to love other humans. It's going to be very difficult for you to love other humans. It's easy to love a dog, it's easy to love a cat, not so easy to love another human because, again, we are constantly trying to fix something, or we're constantly, the ego's getting in the way, or, we don't think we're good enough, whatever it is that shows up for us as humans. And it causes us to do great damage to our personal relationships and the relationship we have with the mother. Okay. So go out and be with the great mother. Go touch the earth. Go hug a tree, you know, and not like a tree hugger hippie. Like it's not a woo-woo thing, but to really feel her energy. There's something that you can also do with the earth is it gets rid of free radicals actually when you walk barefoot on the earth. So they always say go take off your shoes, walk in the sand, gets rid of free radicals. She knows how to take that pain and suffering and transmute it for us. When we hug a tree and we're saying help us, give us stability, I need to lean on you, and we do that, she takes that energy and she transforms it into something else for us. So be with her. Just remember her, touch her. When you touch the earth, you're touching the mother. When you touch a tree, you're touching the mother. We're kind of removed from that because we live in our buildings, right? We live in houses, and we live in, places that are above the earth or whatnot. But if we go ground ourselves in the actual earth and touch it and be with it, then we remember that we're a part of this bigger system, that we're interconnected, and that she loves us regardless. You can hear her speak to you, right? Through the wind. Hello, Ruck. So hopefully that helps. There's a lot more going on. I think with me, I world is lover, world is self, and I think Joanna Macy hit it on the head for me, the nail on the head for me on that despair and grief and feeling the whole cosmos and the earth, and we want to psychoanalyze it and stuff like that. The reality is we feel deeply because the earth feels deeply, and we're feeling her pain, and there's nothing wrong with you if you feel that. So I just want to continue to say that there's nothing wrong with you. It's completely normal. Doesn't mean that you just care about your own survival. You're just mourning what has been lost, and we're doing maybe a big death ceremony for all of the life that we've killed off. Yeah, she's shaking for attention for sure. She wants us to remember her. She's like, why have you forsaken us, you humans? Why have you forsaken me? I've given you life. I've given you breath. I've given you food. I've given you shelter. I've given you, I mean, she's given so much. It's almost, I hate to put it in gender roles, but it's the same thing. They always say women don't want to be fixed. They just want to be heard. So you can apply that same concept to the earth. She doesn't want to be fixed. Stop trying to fix her. Just hear her, be with her. That's it. But here we are with this masculine approach to life. And we're like, we got to fix this problem. Well, no, you don't. You created the problem by trying to fix it. So stop trying to fix it and stop and just listen. She just wants to be loved, right? Absolutely. Total love bug, right? Total love bug all the way. And yet we think we're gonna fix something. It's just it to me, it's just, oh my God. And I don't know how people don't get it. I mean, people were even because I'm reading, like I told you, I'm doing living systems, and I do not agree with that paradigm. They want to figure out how to solve these wicked problems. And I'm like, why are you trying to solve anything? You're not the great resolvers. We're the experiencers of life and not the resolvers of life. But we've created problems to resolve. We can't help ourselves as a human species for whatever reason. We just have to fix it. And we can't, and there's nothing to fix. We should be working on ourselves. That's where we need to understand. Like, how do we not even fix ourselves, but how do we come to terms with who we are as humans, right? Because humans always want to disturb the peace. Yeah, we've done a number on this place, man. I don't know. We're definitely a weird species, you know. I just you know, we're a weird species. And I would say there's definitely certain humans that are not on the same kind of species field. Species field. Um, you know, it's like I don't even know. Sometimes I'm like, how do people really think this way? Like they do, but they do. You know, they do. And it's to me, it's mind boggling. I'm like, how can they? How could that be? Their mind, you know, they have to be coming from some kind of their energy field has to be coming from. I don't know, a different. I I don't know where it's coming from. To be honest, I can't even say. You know, another cosmic field that's trying to devour the earth or something. I don't trying to extract all suck up all the life from the earth or something, you know? It's like vampires or something. Like maybe we have like cosmic vampires and cosmic earth vampires, you know, that just want to come and suck it dry or something. I think, yeah, the earth definitely cleanses. And you know, that's part of what I'm saying is she doesn't need to be fixed. She just but there's a great mourning because we have been a cause of a lot of death and humans have caused a lot of death, you know, in the planet. And so, you know, I think that the great mother mourns her dead. I mean, think about it. Like a mother gives life and then her child dies, you know, that's like, whoa, you know, but we've killed off a lot of species. You know, we've been the reason for it and we don't take responsibility for it. And by any means, we don't. We're trying to fix it instead of just take responsibility for it and stop our shit. You know, it's like, oh, um, we made a problem. Let's go fix it. Instead of saying, yeah, we made that problem. We should probably stop doing what we're doing because we're just causing more problems. You know, but we, you know, humans, they don't think like that. They want to think in these complex systems, and even myself, you know, until recently, you know, trying to fix something, and there's nothing to fix. You know, and so I'm coming to uh, an expansion of consciousness myself. Like as humans, we have the capacity to expand our consciousness, and in that expansion of consciousness, we start to understand from um I don't want to say different levels, but for a lack of a better term, we see it from a different level of understanding. And that's not to say that the levels that came before it are, you know, that it's better than or not. So that's kind of why I don't like to use levels because sometimes people get on a high horse, right? This is not about a high horse. I have the ultimate way or truth. That's not what's needed right now anyway. Like we all need to get off our high horse. That's what needs to happen. Everybody needs to get off their high horse that they have the answer because they don't. Nobody does. We are too small to understand everything. And what we've done, here's what we've done as a species. We said, "Oh shit, we've made a problem. Now we got to fix it." So then we go try to fix it and then 20 more problems show up and then we keep trying to fix these problems when there was nothing to fix to begin with. Right? There was no problem to begin with. If we would have just continued to do our thing, but we've created this massive problems and living systems. Why I don't agree with that paradigm is that it aims to fix something. Well, I'm saying I don't agree with that at all. And I think that what we get to do is to reconnect to all systems, right? Is to remember that we are a part of the grand design, and we've made a mess, and we just need to take responsibility for the mess we've made. I just That's that simple. Take responsibility, all of us. We've killed a number of species from our behavior, and in that killing that we've done, you know, saying, "I'm sorry," and mourn our brothers and sisters, and I don't mean human beings too, I mean all our brothers and sisters, meaning all the creatures that we've killed off. Um, mourn with the earth because she's mourning the loss of her creation, right? And be with her in that mourning. Not try to fix her, not try to recreate, because we'll just go to our laboratories and try to figure out how we're gonna reconstruct an atmosphere. Like we're God. We have this God complex. It's crazy. And I think humans just continue to do that. We just continue to put ourselves on a pedestal and think that we can fix stuff, and it's operating the way it's supposed to, and us trying to fix it is the problem actually. Repetitious story, yeah. And humans keep doing it, it's just like, but how do you get them to stop? You can't, you can't get everybody to just stop. It's not going to happen. um and I think Claire Graves, who did he's the father of spiral dynamics, the inventor of spiral dynamics. um he said that in one of his lectures. I think he realized too, I think he came to that final conclusion of like, the more that we try to solve problems, the bigger the problems become, and the more we have to find ways to resolve them, the greater. And to just, like, our problem is that we're trying to solve problems, and that's the problem. Stop doing that. Just stop. But we won't, because humanity's not, we're not wired that way for whatever reason. And it could, we could go back to like how, why, or tried to explain why we're that way. They go back to like, we could go to biblical stories and all that, and say, well, we ate from the tree of knowledge, and we just want to know, and in us knowing, it's caused all this craziness. If we were just, like the birds and the bees, where we just lived within the system that was designed without, questioning and all this stuff, that perhaps, you know, we would, quote unquote, be ignorant, right? Ignorance is bliss. We would just go on living. We wouldn't be questioning and trying to fix problems that are not there, or creating problems to fix. But we do that. It's part of the human nature to do that. Um, but I think as the great sages, and I don't want to say gurus, because again, that's God complex, but I think as people expand consciousness, they'll come to the conclusion that there's nothing to fix, and at the end of the day, we just we can love the earth, and be grateful that she's given to us, and that we've had a chance to experience life. I don't question too much number 12 for that. Yeah. You just kind of enjoy life, be with life, but also give respect back to life, and remember that if we're gonna take something, give back. You know, if if you're eating a lot, then go give some seeds to the earth to grow a fruit tree or whatever, just like that. But if we take, there's a book called The Giving Tree. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. And that's a pretty good example. It's a very simplified way to describe what we've done. We just take. We're takers. Humans are takers. And I say that not as like every single human being, right? Of course, but on the larger scale, that's what we've done. We've taken and taken and taken and taken and haven't given back enough. Greedy humans, yeah, we become very greedy. Um, and so we can simplify it, and then I think we make it very complex. And that's the problem. We need to go back to simple. Simple. Keep it simple, stupid, right? That's what they say. That's the saying. So, but I highly recommend, because even in all this, people feel the mourning, and you're not crazy if you're mourning loss of the species on the planet that have gone away. Okay. Yeah, money and power have caused it. Yeah, there's a lot that goes into it. And like for me, because eventually, when I get my PhD, I'm gonna enter a PhD program soon. Probably I'd say about a year. Um, right. I'm gonna be looking at, how more important, I think we understand kind of how we ended up in the mess we're in. I think most people, I would say, maybe not, I don't know, that they kind of understand that, we've lived in a patriarchy system, right? Everything's very patriarchal, and there's been an imbalance of power because of it. And that imbalance of power has led to a lot of crazy stuff. Imbalance of power and wealth as well. And by wealth, I mean materialism, money, whatever you want to call. So, there's this great imbalance, and I think there needs to be a remembrance of the both and, right, both the patriarch and matriarch together as a unity, a cosmic and planetary relationship. But somehow that's just been, yeah, it's just been out of the conscious of humans, and we talk about it, right? We talk about the sacred feminine coming back in, but the problem is here, and this is why I'm very reluctant to take to any one worldview at this point, because I don't think anybody really has it. I don't think it's emerged the way it's supposed to at this point. I know there are worldviews that they're looking at, but I don't agree with them. Um, actually. So I personally wouldn't adopt that worldview that they currently have, but there needs to be a integration of both the feminine and masculine, not just one or the other. And then we can find harmony and balance. But we don't have that at this point. I mean, it's very, very patriarchal. Most of the world is, war is patriarchal, and we need to sort of understand, what does a system look like to have both, a balance of both matriarch, patriarch, not just one or the other, but both and then what does that look like? I don't know. I don't think we can even imagine a world like that yet. So we'll see. I think I have found a program, and one of my professors who's coined the term tarot psychology. I asked him, I said, "Did you coin this term?" He said, "Yeah." So figured he did, just based on the readings. But to talk to him, and be with him in terms of, what is it, imagining what a world of both and looks like, instead of either or, win-win, competitive, all that kind of stuff. But I don't know that I think it's in our imagination. I think it's stirring there, but I don't think that it's emerged as a worldview. Maybe it has, but I haven't found it yet. So if I do find it, I will share. I will share, like, here's an emerging worldview that can help us reconnect to living systems. Not living systems. I shouldn't even say I hate it, but I don't like that term, because I don't like that worldview, doesn't resonate with me. Um, and I thought living systems was something totally different than what it is. But I think, emerging worldview gets to be a worldview where we're not trying to fix stuff, but we're just allowing ourselves to. It's kind of like the Tao, right? The yin yang. I mean, we have all this kind of information, but imagining a world that's based on the philosophy of both the patriarch and matriarch. So I don't know. I haven't found one yet. When I do, I will let you all know. Okay. All right. So there you have it. Have a good day. Love you guys, and I'll be seeing you soon. Bye bye.